The Spotrac Podcast, talking sports contracts, the salary cap, and business of sports.
Well, everybody, it's Super Bowl week. Think of a lot of, you know what? It's a podcast. I could say it. Super Bowl week. And welcome to the Spotrac.com podcast. I'm Kevin Sylvester along with Paul Peck. Check us out at BuffaloSportsPage.com.
If the NFL attorneys are listening to us for a potential lawsuit, then I think that's a good sign for Spotrac.
All right, I'm going to sue you for going over our plug. Check us out at BuffaloSportsPage.com. And, of course, you're the founder of Spotrac.com, Mike Giannetti. People are like, why do you guys say that? Well, you're supposed to say the big game.
Copyrighted.
It's copyrighted, right?
Yeah.
Although everybody...
Also a Spotrac. So.
Oh, well, yeah, but we are on the Spotrac one, so it is copyrighted.
Mike's, which would be to call it Mike's really cool numbers and sports website.
Number website.
Right.
Speaking of which, I think Super Bowl number squares have become the new candy bar sale for youth.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
No
more beer blasts.
Right.
Just buy a $50 square.
Bingo.
My goodness.
I'm trying to. I can't even keep track of how many $20 squares I've bought for little Johnny's travel baseball.
Isn't
team.
Facebook the worst?
Yes.
Everybody's posting them on Facebook. And now you can just send the money straight through. I've spent like $400 on Facebook at Super Bowl squares.
Yeah, so when we're watching the big game and your wife says, "Why are you so angry about this?" You know how much money I have right now. This thing, right?
See that, it's much like the problem of people that play a lot of fantasy football that you have guys all over the board. You can't keep track of them and you don't know who to root for. When you have that many squares and numbers, you're like, wait, do I have that one? Yay. Oh, no.
At some point,
it's like you can't keep track.
At some point, it's like betting on every horse, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm winning something.
You're going to win
right?
something.
Yeah, right? When someone says, "Do you want to buy a square?" you always say you're in.
Yeah, I'm in.
Right? Whoever says no to that.
Yeah.
No one ever says no to that. Hey, we'll talk more about the Super Bowl in a second. We want to start with the NBA real quick here.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis with the New Orleans Pelicans has told him he has no intent to re-sign there. I don't think anybody's shocked at that.
No, long time coming. Maybe like a month coming based on the rumors that I've heard. He's going to give up some money. Does anybody really care about that anymore in the NBA?
No.
I mean, there's
Instead
so
of
much
$40
money.
million, he's going to get 35, right? You know what I mean.
Yeah, it's about he's maybe he gets 235 if he extends with New Orleans. That's going to be 205 if he extends on the new team he trades to, and if he gets traded then signs somewhere else, it's like 175. So it's like $50+ million potentially being lost here. But again, it's still $175 million, right, for your second contract.
Right.
So then he's still got a third and probably a fourth at his age.
And he's likely to go to a big money, big time team where his endorsement opportunities will triple.
Lakers?
Yeah. It's yes or nothing for me. Because the Lakers now have a very unique situation, which I'm sure you've heard now across the media scopes here. The Celtics can't get him right now. It's part of the CBA. They've got Kyrie Irving. He's their essentially designated extension. He's like their superstar, their elite player. And you can't have two of those on the same team at the same time. So the Celtics are sort of locked out until July when Kyrie has to leave. And, maybe Kyrie doesn't leave now because they probably are going to lose out on the Anthony Davis sweepstakes.
Well, I think Kyrie wants to go play with LeBron again the way he was talking recently.
Very possible.
Right?
It's very possible this all comes back to bite Boston in the ass pretty hard.
Yeah.
But essentially Boston's locked out. The Lakers have all these assets, these kids, these draft picks. They're going to overpay, and I think they're going to put an offer that New Orleans can't refuse. And I think let's just get this over with, right? This has been coming. The Lakers have missed on two guys, right? They missed on Paul George. They missed on Chris Paul. They've wanted guys to come there. This should have been a better year for LeBron and the Lakers, and they've sort of slow played it. They're not going to slow play this. They're going to go big.
They need to go all in to get Anthony Davis. Yeah. I agree with you, and what a combination that would be.
Isn't the more interesting future to watch here going to be what happens when Lonzo Ball's in New Orleans?
Right.
And he definitely doesn't want to be there, and his camp doesn't want to be there. And New Orleans probably shouldn't even be a team at this point. I mean, that team's probably going to Seattle, right, in 3 years, whenever expansion can happen.
I used to work for that team.
I know.
The Hornets.
Yeah.
They were the
It
Charlotte
was bad
Hornets.
back then, right?
Well, yeah.
That wasn't
they were good. They were a decent team. Baron Davis was their star, rookie player. They were a decent team.
That wasn't Chris Paul yet, right?
No, it was not Chris Paul yet.
Okay.
No. But everybody knew they were going, and they weren't putting any money into the team. And it's just kind of sad to see what they've
That's
become.
sort of the point here, Kevin, too, is, I mean, that's obviously the reason he wants to leave, is they haven't done enough. But they've botched everything. If you remember, do you remember the Chris Paul situation? He was traded.
I vaguely remind me of it.
The league had to ban the trade because it was such a one-sided trade. The league stepped in and did not allow Chris Paul to be traded to the Lakers because of how one-sided it was.
Right. Yes,
do you remember this?
Yes, I do. Yes.
And that's just one example of New Orleans sort of not. I mean, they've done a little bit, but a little bit's never going to be enough in a market like that. It's the Cleveland situation with LeBron is really what it is, and it's not easy. It's Indiana with Paul George. It's Oklahoma City with Kevin Durant. These small markets, they've got such little leverage.
Is there anything wrong with that? That's as you're saying that, as I'm thinking, and I personally, I find it it makes me a little angry. But I mean, it's wrong, isn't it? It's wrong that you have no chance to be successful if you're a small market team that drafts well, identifies players, builds it the right way, and gets yourself to the point where you can be competitive and compete for a championship, and then your player just says, "I don't want to be here because you're too small."
Right, and that's a shift from the past. See, I don't like. See, it's the athlete to me. I think is a big part of this now. Where, I want to go and win.
This is not a players' league, Kevin.
Right? Yes. Not where. Hey, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to be the solution. I'm going to lead you guys to win. When it used to be, every team had a star player and a complementary player. Think Stockton Malone. Think. Dominique Wilkins, John Battle, just a guy comes to mind with the Atlanta Hawks, and they would compete, right? I mean, you had super teams.
Yeah,
like
and every
the Celtics.
night there was a team that came in that you're like, oh, hey, I'm excited to see this guy.
Right. I mean, even when the Knicks say they suck, like, man, Bernard King's coming in, man. The guy can score in buckets. The Nets had Sugar Ray Richardson and then Buck Williams, right?
Yeah.
You knew the players that they had because every team had a couple that had to be contended with, and now that's not the case because they all go play together, which I get on one hand, but on the other hand, the competitor in me says, no, beat him.
This is just the example of where the league is right now. This is the perfect example. This is a superstar top 3 player in the league who is going to be able to pick who he plays for and who he plays with. And that's just where we are.
Well,
that's the NBA right now.
And you brought this up, too. The next one to watch is going to be Giannis in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in a sort of an outpost of the NBA doing the amazing things he's doing. What's his future?
There's a lot of curmudgeons like us sitting around microphones right now praying and hoping that the Bucks are the team that gets Anthony Davis.
Oh, that'd be great.
Because that would flip the switch on this conversation.
Would be cool. That would be
if you
great.
could put Giannis and Anthony Davis in that city with a good team, with a good young team, some scorers around them, that would change the script. Then you've got a legitimate contender in a small market. This isn't Cleveland. This isn't just LeBron doing everything. Those are 2 powerhouses, probably 2 of the top 3 players in the league right now.
It'd be like the old Rockets, man, the Twin Towers.
Yeah. I mean,
that can dribble and shoot.
They can do everything. They can shoot threes, right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hope. I mean, it's small. It's a tiny little, dash of hope, but there's hope that something like that could happen. Look, he's going to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Let's just end this conversation.
All right, let's transition to the Super Bowl then, and let's talk about one of the not just the top 3 players in the game, but perhaps the top player of all time, right? I mean,
hey, maybe the top team of all time.
Correct. Yes,
I mean,
the New England Patriots, which just remarkable that they're there. We can point all the things out that were wrong about, not getting a chance in overtime for the Chiefs. Blah blah blah.
It's exactly
right.
It's losers whining.
Right. I mean, just stop them. End of story. And a stupid offside. Lining up offsides. Like those are the things
completely avoidable.
Yes.
And those are the things that the Patriots make you do, right? They do. You do those things against the Patriots.
Paul, I'm sorry. That is on that entire defensive line, on the defensive court. I mean, it's down to crunch time there, and the guy could probably, I lined up offside, so I lined up there all game long. Horse crap.
No, my point is the Patriots make teams make dumb mistakes.
Overthink, yeah.
I guess. I don't know how he lines up there and says, wow, I can see inside of the helmet of my teammate. Maybe you're offsides? I mean, the linesman will tell you.
I wish they would more. I wish we'd just get rid of this. It's just bad for the game.
The explanation that I read was that they'll tell you in the first half, and in the fourth quarter, they won't tell you.
So stupid.
Yeah,
that is dumb.
I'm not getting on the refs.
Anyhow,
okay. Let me say this about the Patriots.
They deserve to be there.
They do.
The
but
Rams we could talk about.
We got off a basketball conversation here, and there's a little bit of basketball sort of mixed into the Patriots this year, right? Didn't the Patriots season feel a ton like Golden State?
Yes.
where they just sort of went through the motions for maybe 8-9 weeks.
It's going to wind up in the same
They got
place.
everybody sort of thinking, oh, it's over. You know, they don't look even close to what they used to be. Brady looks like he's an old man out there. And then they just decided in the locker room one day to flip the switch. And last week was Brady's best week of the year by 1,000,000. He was Brady times 10.
Right. Well,
and that's dumb on all of us for buying into that.
I guess.
Let's be honest.
I
Come
guess.
on now. How many, they don't have good weapons. They don't have great wide receiving core. How many times have we said that, and have we seen that never be a factor?
But this was as evident as ever. I mean,
that stretch a couple years ago, the famous on to Cincinnati.
Yeah, but they lost
stretch,
5
that
games.
That was bad.
They were 11-5, right?
Right.
well, they can do it because they're in a bad division.
That's part of it. Yes.
right.
But this is credit to them. I'm not knocking them in any regard. We have this opportunity. Yeah, look at the Bills, look at the Jets, look at the Dolphins, and then look at the rest of our schedule. We'll ramp it up for that Chiefs game on Monday Night Football, which they did, right? And I mean, they picked it. It's exactly what the Warriors do in the regular season. Warriors went to Boston last week. They ramped it up an extra notch, Well,
it always seems too Brady. Like there's a game. Okay, we're going to feature Hogan, right? Or Edelman. I mean,
but that's what makes them great.
Great.
That's what
It's the same thing with Warriors.
And whoever they're going to feature on Sunday is probably not anybody that we think they're going to.
See, I disagree.
Because the Rams don't think they're going
I disagree. I think they've slow played Gronk into a lull, right?
Maybe.
And they're just going to one of these weeks they're going to have to explode. I mean, they showed a little bit of it in the championship game, but I expect him to be a monster. I'm an absolute monster.
I did kind of think that when Gronk had that game, the thought crosses your mind like, have they just been sitting on him all year long?
I mean, they have to.
He's old, he's tired,
Yeah.
he's done, he's beat up. Part of you says this has been the plan all along.
I also think that the running game of Michelle has helped them, preserve Gronk a little bit. However, his blocking was outstanding.
That's all they asked him to do for 10 weeks.
Right.
That's it.
Just block.
Save that back, save your neck, save your legs. Yeah, work on the run game. Just get us through the finish line here. Now they're here. This is probably a walk-off, which we'll talk about, right? This is probably Gronk's walk-off.
I was going to say, this is probably it for him.
He's just going to be going bonkers out there, right?
He was going bonkers last night at the thing, dancing at the thing. I mean, it was classic Gronk. You can tell he's in the right frame of mind.
All right, let's talk about the money.
Yeah, a little
these
money.
two teams and how they got there and how they were built. And overall, I think people, and we've mentioned this a bunch of times. It's surprising the Patriots are in the middle of. Well, they're actually in the bottom half,
Almost 20th in the league in
Right.
spending, in cap spending.
How is that possible?
Because they don't pay anybody. They're a revolving door, and we talk about the most important positions on the team. On any football team, what do we talk about? Quarterbacks, maybe some wide receivers, but then the trenches, right?
Yep.
Got to be able to rush the passer. You got to be able to keep the passer from getting rushed, right? The offensive, defensive lines. The Patriots rank 22nd in D line spending and 26th in O line spending. It's not because they don't do it. It's because they keep depth, they keep the revolving doors, and they keep drafting at those positions.
But the O-line is the most surprising to me.
Is it?
Yes,
I mean, they let Nate Solder walk.
I know, but
become one of the biggest busts in free agency.
Well, but they had great internal scouting on that because they have the greatest quarterback of all time getting rid of the football.
And that's the real point.
So
they don't need
that's
to
probably
pay.
the point. They
That's
don't
how
need
they
to
can
pay.
get away
right.
with that.
They don't need to pay. They can pay $15 million for the entire line because Brady's, the ball doesn't stay behind them for more than a second and a half.
Fair
Anything else jump out at you as you look at the Patriots spending, and then we'll talk about how it compares to the Rams?
Well, we talked about the running backs of the Patriots, and obviously the Rams have the highest paid running back, in history. Both are, 7th and 4th respectively in terms of the running game.
Is he hurt?
It
by the way?
matters. We'll get to it.
Okay.
if you added Burkhead, Michelle, and White together, would they be close to Gurley
No.
money? Not even close.
No.
Okay.
It's they need 5 guys to be one high paid running back, but that's their beautiful
Always.
strategy.
Absolutely.
That's how wide receivers work on this team too. And the only anomaly has been Gronk, who's been the number 1 paid tight end for 5 years now. Say what you want about that, but they were the first team to really overvalue a tight end. They did it twice. They did it with Hernandez
also
too.
had a unique, one of the all-time greats.
Well, I mean, Aaron Hernandez was no slack when he was playing.
No,
they had a
but-
1-2 tandem that was unmatchable
No
in this
question.
league. So.
But Gronk is one of the all-time greats and so much more of a blocker than a Tony Gonzalez and some of the other ones that have dominated. So I get why you'd pay him because there isn't anybody else like Gronk out there.
But I guess positionally speaking, in terms of the money, they've been afforded the opportunity to not have to pay wide receivers because of Gronk. Do you know what I mean? He's taken up the middle of the field for
Brady,
that team.
right?
And because of
Yeah,
Brady.
because you can throw a Philip Dorsett or a Hogan or an Edelman or any of these guys in, and they become great because of who's throwing it.
They double Gronk, and so you have single coverage.
Takes away the entire
receivers.
middle of the field.
Right.
Gronk has. Yeah, it's been brilliant. Let's talk Brady real quick. It's been beaten to death, but he's made $15 million this year. Him plus Brian Hoyer on this roster account for the 12th highest quarterback spending in the league. So yeah, the greatest of all time, and he's not even a top 10 paid quarterback. It is what it is, right? I mean, we don't. There's no sense in saying this more and more because he's making this decision on a yearly basis. I think, and we'll get to it. I think he's going to make another decision this coming offseason, and it'll trend in this direction again. But it means everything to the Patriots that he's taken $10 million less per year for the last 10 years. It means everything. It means we can go out and overpay for our kicker, which we do, and overpay for our punter, which we do, and lock in our long snapper for 6-7 years at a time because that stuff matters to teams of this, girth, of this dynasty level. You have to have consistency in some areas.
Both teams spend money in the secondary.
Yeah.
Patriots second, Rams sixth. But defensive line, Pats 22nd, the Rams fourth. The Aaron Donald contract certainly part of that.
Donald, Sue, Brockers. Yeah,
Right.
they're paying everybody for
Are
that
they going to
line.
be able to continue that?
No.
Okay.
I think Ndamukong Suh's got a guy who falls off this roster next year as a free agent. Going to be on his fourth team. Is that right? Fourth team?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Detroit Dolphins. Man.
Right.
Just a guy like that, it's unbelievable he can't stick. But it's money. That's the reason. You can't allocate multi-year money to defensive, to run stoppers anymore. And that's just where we're going in this league. So this is an example of that was a hole they needed to fill in terms of the Rams in that line. They paid him, $14 million guaranteed to do that. I think it's going to work out very well for them because look at it. It's maybe the most important part of the Super Bowl. Is that middle pressure?
I think it's the
on
key.
The line.
I think as we sit here, can the Rams win? I think the key becomes you've got unique players at positions that no one else in the league has. Can they be the difference getting pressure up the middle?
Up the middle. Yeah, I agree. I think he's maybe one of the most important players in this entire game coming Sunday, but I think he falls off the roster next year because look at there's a slew of players on this Rams team that were sort of patched for this year specifically. They're going to have like a 3-year window with Jared Goff. The Brandon Cook signing, that was nice. Gurley obviously locked in for 3+ years guaranteed. So there's a window here, but they're going to have to make a lot of things work and revolve as the Patriots have done over their sort of 15-year run here. There are going to be positions that are going to be revolving doors, like I said. And honestly, the biggest one with the Rams, Sue withstanding, is the left tackle. They've got a 36-year-old left tackle, Andrew Whitworth, who just has been on the wrong team for a long time. Okay, don't you agree with that?
He's been playing great. Oh yeah, he was on the Bengals for most of his career, and he's playing great at that age here too.
Career year, arguably at 36.
He's another one of those positions where you can be 36 and be the best guy in the league. There's not a lot of positions that are like that. Quarterback's one of them.
Kicker,
left tackle, kicker, but left tackle or offensive line can be one of those.
He holds a $16 million cap hit next year.
Oh,
and he's going to be 37.
But how does that compare amongst left tackles?
It's up there. It's way up there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's top 20
but
in the
it's
league.
not crazy left tackle money, is it? It is for his age.
For a cap hit, it is.
Okay.
For a cap hit, it is. So, and the reason that's a question, I mean, anyone else 5 years younger, you're just extending him, and making that cap hit lower. I don't know if you do that at 37 years old.
Let me see how quick Paul gets his greatest left tackle in Rams history.
Jackie Slater.
Yeah, boom, I knew he'd get it. Okay.
Wasn't he a Ram too?
And his son plays on the Patriots.
Oh, my God. Good call.
Matthew Slater,
Oh,
special
really?
teams ace.
All right, there you go. Outstanding. Hey, in case you're wondering the money, all right, so far, both teams, each player's earned $83,000.
Playoff money, yeah.
Yeah, $29,000 for divisional round, $54,000 for a conference championship. They probably get. We need Raiola on. Tell us how much they get whacked because it's bonus money.
Yeah,
essentially. So that's half.
It's not salary money. It's
that's
bonus
half.
money.
So that's gone. The winner, each player will get $118,000. So they're not just playing for a ring here.
Yeah.
And losers, you're guaranteed $59,000.
I love the difference between the two of them.
Sure,
I do too.
Let's be honest. We know what motivates these guys, and doubling their money for a win can be the motivating factor.
It's just like the PGA Tour, man. Make that putt, it's $1.2 million. You miss it, you're making $600,000.
Although 60 grand's a pretty nice participation trophy, don't you think?
Oh, sure. Yes. Yeah. And a nice ring that comes along with it if they win.
What did Sean Payton do? He rolled. He got $225,000 in cash and rolled it in the locker room and said, "This is what you guys are playing for."
Yeah, that didn't work.
Trust me, that's what motivates these guys.
Yeah.
Well, They should have given that to one of the officials.
You beat me to the punch.
Yes, I did.
That was horrible, by the way. All right, actual.
Oh, boo-hoo.
And
horrible calls. They've never happened in the NFL before, ever.
Paul, that was ridiculous.
I know it was.
Okay.
But it was a bad call. It was a blown missed call.
Bad call. That was one of the worst calls.
Yeah, I know.
Non-calls
They
in the history
happen.
of
They
sport.
happen every year.
The guy, Nickel Roby, tackled him.
I know.
Oh, awful. All right, real quick. We think Gurley's hurt before we get to prop bets?
He's got to be
He's hurt, and they purposely slow played him last week.
Yeah.
He's going to be fine.
saving him. They're saving
He's
him
gonna
for
be
this
fine.
game.
There's some issue there. To me, I think it's a hamstring.
Me too.
He's riding the bike.
Yeah,
Or
I agree.
or it's a torn groin or
Keeping it
something
loose.
like that.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Let's have some fun here, right?
Everybody loves prop bets, and there's a gazillion of them.
Yeah.
And hopefully, in most states next year, we can bet on all these legally, right? And you got to go to Vegas or Atlantic City
Or the wonderful state of New Jersey.
or New Jersey. All right, get a pizza, right? You guys
love
fold
Jersey
your you
pizza.
guys thin crust
I'm in
fold
heaven.
it like New
I'm
Yorkers.
in heaven.
All right, here we.
No one's in
Thinking
heaven in
about
Jersey.
it.
These are just
thinking about it.
these are just a future. These are just a couple of the actual Super Bowl prop bets. James White over under 56.6 receiving yards with the money on the under. What do we think?
I love
Over.
this one. I love this. I think James White is a massive part of that offense.
He's
Yeah.
a huge weapon.
Yeah.
He always 3 dump-off passes are your 55 yards.
I love it.
And he's 20-1 as the MVP. I
Don't love that.
don't love that because I think Brady.
Here's where I'm gonna differ with this, and I understand why he's down there. It's because if he's got 200 yards receiving, Brady's gonna be the MVP, right?
By the way, I'm taking the over on this.
But what if James White has a $125 receiving, 50 rushing with 3 total touchdowns? He could be a guy who pounds in 2 touchdowns.
If he wasn't the MVP from the Atlanta Super Bowl,
Right.
which I don't think he was,
No.
he'll never be the MVP.
I just love the odds on this. There's no sense in taking Brady.
It's great. Yeah, Brady's probably you lose money on it, right?
there's no sense
3 to
in
5 odds or something. White, yeah, okay. I if you're betting for odds, yes. You know, you throw if you're a gambler, you throw $100 on that to win two grand. Sure,
Yeah,
right.
I'm in
I
on
like
that
the over on the receiving yards because if you're going to bet for him to be the MVP,
Totally.
you got to go with receiving yards.
Totally.
because he's not going to have the rushing yards. Tony Romo.
This is a big number.
Number
That's a lot.
number of plays Romo will correctly forecast during the game, 7.5. I think.
They think it's
Way
7.
high.
They think it's 7.
You think that's high?
Yeah.
I think it's low.
I love this one.
I'll go over.
All right, Paul and I are on the under on this.
Well,
I'm going to write this down. We're going to track this.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty remarkable what he was able to do.
Well, because he knows, he sees formations, he knows
right.
what's going on, and beyond that, what it is what makes it great is I don't know that it's Tony predicting the plays, it's him seeing what he sees, saying if I'm the quarterback, this is where I'm going, and the fact that Brady goes there just tells you that the mind of guys like that is amazing.
Well,
they're in single high, and they're doubling the guy on the left, so you got to throw it to the backside tight end.
but here's what
Right.
people need to understand with Romo, and frankly, any analyst.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm not going to say it. It's going to sound wrong if I say it the way I was going to say it. Let me say it this way: like it's not like it's the first time Romo is watching Tom Brady play.
Right.
This is a guy who's watched a ton of game film when he's a quarterback, right, trying to beat defenses. So there isn't anything he hasn't seen under center. And this is a guy who's watched a ton of game film on the Patriots, right, does all his homework on the game and knows, well, if Brady gets
knows
single
what their
high
offense
there,
looks like.
he knows what they're going to do and what his tendencies are.
Here's my question, because I agree with you. He's done his homework.
And so the defensive coordinators,
That's
by the
right.
way. Like people are
They
saying,
do,
"Wow."
right?
Yeah, but it's like he should be a coach. I'm like, if you don't think the coaches see this and know this, they do. It's up to the players to recognize it. They go over the stuff.
And sometimes in the
Believe me.
NFL, you can know exactly what your opponent is going to do, and you still can't stop them.
Correct.
That's where I wanted to get to here. That's what's happening, right?
Like, people are,
I mean, there's Luke Kuechly's out there who know this is coming, right? He's got to be of the same mindset as Romo.
Yes.
He's seen all this stuff. He knows what's going to happen. He's done his homework.
Hey,
Is it a communication thing? He can't communicate that to his line in front of him? I don't understand this. If Romo can blatantly pick out those plays, and he did it, 5-6 times?
Yeah, but it's Gronk being able. Sorry, Kevin. It's Gronk being able to make an amazing catch with an amazing throw and beat the defensive back. The defensive back probably
Correct.
knew exactly what was coming. It's better players beat better players.
there you go. That's exactly right. Let's go back to the Seahawks-Patriots Super Bowl, right? Malcolm Butler.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw this. I play on film. I knew he's going to throw it. There's somebody like, oh, there you go.
Yes.
Right there. So he recognized something and executed the play. End of story.
Defense is harder than offense, right? That's
Yes.
the moral of this story.
For people on social media to eviscerate, coaches for not seeing what Romo sees is complete crap.
I loved Wade Phillips. Did you see it yesterday?
No. I did see that. Yes.
He was asked how he's going to handle the Patriots.
Yes.
And he says, I'm just going to have an earpiece with Tony Romo, and he's going to tell me what the play is before
Leave
it
it
happens.
to Wade.
Yes.
And here's the last thing on that
But the other thing, Jim Nantz, by the way, the producers at CBS and Nantz allow Romo to jump in there. Whether Nantz Paul, you call football, that is not ordinary.
No,
that
it's
is not how it's supposed to be done.
Here's the last point on this is and I'm not Romo's been amazing. I don't know that he's predicting the plays as much as he's predicting where the plays should go.
Formation-wise.
And
Right.
then when Brady does that, because they're on the same wavelength, that's what makes this amazing. Again, Tony Romo's not saying, it's going to be an end around here. He's saying, look, here's the defense. This is what they're trying to take away. Here's what the formation will allow the Patriots to do. And then Brady does that. It's not, he's not predicting their plays. He's predicting what the play should be.
The best indicator was an example of what Paul's saying. It was the safety for the Chiefs. He said, watch the safety here. If he takes a step in, he'll go here. And that's exactly what the safety did, because that's what the offense showed the safety, right? On film, and boom.
And Tony knows that's what the quarterback is looking at. So that's why
7.5, though, you think is I'm going to go over that he'll forecast.
Paul and I are going to take the under on this.
I'm going to take
Okay.
the
I'm
under.
going to take the under. I like this one. That's got to be close, though.
I think
We'll
so.
stick with CBS here, right?
Yeah, will they show the missed pass interference call highlight?
Absolutely. You have to. It's part of the story of the Rams being there.
The money is heavy on no.
Well, because
The odds are on no
Because they
right
think
now.
the NFL's going to squash it? Nah.
I think if you don't think there's meetings between the NFL and CBS saying, hey, we are taking a ton of heat.
Yeah, but there's a difference between hammering it and showing it.
They have to show it.
They have to show it.
They'll have to show
They
it.
have to show
Let's
it.
get some money on it then.
Yeah,
It's good odds.
Because here's the issue: like, they won't show something opposite side of the field.
Yeah.
Right. But if it's a play like we had in the Saints game, they have to show it because the fans will demand it and they'll get killed. On
I think they
social
should
media.
show it in the stadium with a split screen with Roger Goodell in the stadium.
Will Nance Romo say Philly special?
Of course they will, because any play that involves any kind of
Don't you think-
reversal or someone other than a quarterback throwing has now become a
also,
blank special.
Don't you think they're going to run it?
Yeah, because it's one of the most. Well, sure, it doomed the Patriots.
He's got to get it right?
Yeah.
It's already in the playbook, in my opinion. It's already
the
in the
Rams?
list. No, the Patriots.
Oh.
Brady's got to redeem himself.
Brady's
yes.
Brady's going to run this, right?
It's going to be the Boston special. There you go. There's your line. It's going to be the Boston special.
I think he's going to run this play.
The Foxborough special.
Mm-hmm.
What ends first? Super Bowl 53 or James Harden's 30-point game streak?
I love this one.
Both at minus 120.
Even money.
Even money.
I say the Super Bowl ends first.
Yeah, I think Harden's going.
Yeah.
I think he's on a real streak here. Like a real
Yeah,
streak.
I mean, he...
Damn the winning or losing. I'm getting my 30 points per game.
Yep.
We used to... I had a teammate like that in junior high. We called him the black hole because the ball went there and never came out.
So
it's just like, boom, dude,
I
you can
generally-
pass it once in a while.
I generally don't watch basketball too much this time of year just because, we're caught up in a lot of other things. But I've forced myself to find the Rockets a few times now. It is... You think it'd be boring because I've played on some teams like that too where it's just, and you think the frustrations would be setting in. Nobody's frustrated out there.
They're into it.
Because it's not like he's got a lane to the hoop. Right. And it's not like nobody's double teaming him on the 3-point line. He is doing this in spite of all that. He's physical. He's knocking guys in the throat.
Yeah.
I mean, it is good basketball
Has anybody
to watch.
picked up an assist yet?
No.
On this?
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Oh, no. There's been like 3 or 4 out of like the last 85.
Think about that for a second. 85 buckets made 3 assists. It's all right.
And it's not even it's not even Harden's posting up on the wing and just get him the ball and he's
bringing
going to
the
go
ball down court.
It's
and
give me the
shoot it,
ball.
right? Yeah.
I'm going to maneuver. I'm going to taunt a guy. I'm going to look at him in the eyes, and then I'm going to take him to the hole and knock him on his butt. It's seriously video game stuff.
Yeah.
So
He's pretty remarkable.
he's the MVP, but they're terrible.
Well, that's the thing. He's not the
They're
MVP.
terrible.
Then.
He's the MVP.
Well, and I don't want I don't want to waste time on that.
Yeah.
That bothers me. It bothers me.
Okay.
Because MVP should be a guy who leads his team to success.
Okay, I just
Well,
they're
PJ
going to be
Tucker's not
successful.
doing that. They're going to be successful. He's the most outstanding player. I think
That's different.
I think they need to have two different
That's
awards.
I like
different.
that. I like that.
They need the
No,
most
I will not
outstanding-
debate you on that.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Should be an outstanding player and a valuable player. Because, you could argue back in the day, Kurt Rambis might have been the most valuable player to the Lakers, right? Dennis Rodman might have been the most valuable player to the Pistons.
Yeah, I like this.
Or
I like this.
the Bulls.
Where,
right?
where outstanding is driven towards stats.
Sure.
Correct.
Yeah. I like this.
And valuables driven towards team success.
Sure.
All right, you've also come up with some interesting prop bets with a Spotrac spin.
Yeah, a little money spin. Some off-season things, all sorts. Well, let's just start with Brady.
All right.
Let's get this out of the way.
Over under 1.5 years left for Tom Brady.
We know he's coming back.
Over.
You think
He's already said he's coming back, so now that's one. So now you're is he going to play another year? You're going to play 2020. Why would you not think so? Why would you not think 2019 will be just as good as it's always been, which will then lead him into another year?
What is he, 42 now?
Mm-hmm.
Injury is the only thing that changes this. Only thing that changes
All right,
this.
so injury doesn't count in this. I say over.
you do?
I think
I
he's got
think- I
two
think
more
he's-
years at least left.
I think he wants to surpass Vinny Testaverde and George Blanda.
I think that's definitely on his mind.
Yeah, it's got to be.
No.
What, Testaverde was 46?
Come on.
He was.
Do you think Tom Brady lets anybody bring Vinny Testaverde in his conversations?
No.
Come on. Anyway,
Anyhow.
I agree with you on 2.
I think he wants to play till he's 45.
But I think it's exactly 2. Just based on how he's done his contracts over the past couple of iterations, generally he does a 3-year extension where 2 years are guaranteed, essentially. And there's a huge signing bonus that gets drawn over 2 years. That's going to happen this offseason. It's going to happen again. He's going to get a nice signing bonus after he wins the Super Bowl. And it'll last through 2020. 2021 will kind of be that dummy year. And I think I agree with you. There's no reason to think they won't be successful. At least the playoff team, whether or not they can carry it through again in 19 and in 20. And then I think it's going to be very important for him to get out on top, whether that's an AFC championship, whatever it is at that point.
And I think I think he's tied to Belichick a little bit too.
And Belichick feels that way too, right?
But
But Belichick's not going to let the erosion start to set in.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? He's not that kind of guy either. And we've just seen so many superstars fall off the cliff, right? Favre and just Montana, everybody, Montana, Rice, just have tried to push it too far, and it's just a terrible way to finish it for us as fans.
Right.
I just wanted to say Vinny Testaverde on this podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, he's in Spotrac, by the way.
his career earnings are probably
wait.
crazy more than anybody thinks.
All right, I'm going to guess right now. Vinny Testaverde's career earnings, I don't think they're that crazy because you remember
It's impossible
he played till he's 46, but he was a backup
and he didn't play in a necessarily big money. But I bet you
Right.
they're $50 million.
No, I'm going to say $35 million.
Hold on, I'm going to have to
Vinny
calculate
Testaverde.
this. Let's come back to this.
All right, we'll come back
to
to that. $35 million. With that cash earnings for Tom Brady in 2019, over under $25 million. Cash earnings, Paul.
He's made
That means bonus
13,
money.
14, and 15 the last 6 years.
I'll say it's under 25.
Yeah, I'll say it's under because, again, he's at the point in his career where he's going to do whatever he needs to do to make sure he can guarantee his continued success.
Wants to win. But he'll get to stock the Patriots shop with number 12, his Tom Brady gear. That's what will make up for it. The TB.
Crazy. It's crazy.
And avocado toast.
Yeah, whatever he wants.
Right. But it'll be under $25 million.
Right.
Cash, right?
Cash. So bonus plus salary next year?
I'd say it's under $25 million.
I think it's going to be close. I think he probably gets like a $24 million signing bonus, especially if he wins, right?
Yeah. Probably, again, somewhere
How do
in
you
that
not?
ballpark.
Over 3 years and then maybe a $2 million salary. So I think it might be I'd probably lean towards the over. I think it's probably like a $26, $27 million year for him, just the way that bonus works because, I mean, look at the money's not going away.
Right. His cash earnings next year will be close to Vinny Testaverde's career
Yeah,
earnings.
you're probably right. You're probably right.
I have $35 million on Vinny, by the way. We're going to come back to that in a second.
This is a cool one.
All right. How many of Brady's weapons will be back in 2019? The over-under on this is 4.5. You have Dorsett, Hogan, Patterson, Hill, Edelman, Gronk, Allen, Slater, White, Burkhead, and Michelle. I'll say White and Michelle are back.
Mm-hmm.
Edelman's
back.
That's where I stopped too.
No, I'm going to say Patterson's back. So that's 4.
They're going to have to re-sign him. He's a free agent.
I I say he's back. Well, no.
Who
you know what?
are
Let me
free
take that away.
agents
Let
on
me take
this
that away
list?
because someone's gonna make him a full-time player. So
Who
he's
are free
gone.
agents on this list?
The players
19
with
guys.
19s are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dorsett, Hogan, Patterson, and Jeremy Hill fall off the roster.
I say Hogan's back because you know what? I think he's.
Why would he go anywhere
Right,
else?
exactly. Hogan, you were nobody in Buffalo. I shouldn't say nobody in Buffalo, but you're a role player. You're a third receiver. He's never going to be anything more than that.
Right.
And
I think there's no chance Hogan's back.
really,
No chance. No, because they're going to have to look at. They got to start thinking a little bit long term with this position. I mean, if you look at this list, look at Edelman's probably got 1 year, right? Next year is his last year. I don't imagine they bring him back. They didn't bring back Amendola at this age.
And then bring back Welker.
Okay.
So my guess is they're going to have to start thinking a little bit more long term, which could be a draft pick, could be a free agent signing. I'm not sure, but to me, Hogan just has not done enough this year. He's a nice little role piece. If he wants to come back for $2 million, they'll take him, I'm sure. But I don't look at him as a slam dunk by any means.
and I think that's what's out there for Hogan. $2 million.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
So
yeah. Do you think Burkhead falls off this roster? He's got a bunch of years left.
there's been a lot of
He
injuries.
fills the right kind of role, though, and that saves them
Yeah.
from having to find another running back.
But there's been a lot of injury issues
Well,
with Burkhead.
Yeah, they might.
He's a
need
nice
to-
player. I like him.
They might actually need some cap space when it all comes down to
I
it.
got to tell you, if they had to get rid of guys to keep somebody, I'd keep Patterson. The versatility
I agree
he
with that.
shows.
Special teams, yeah, I agree with
Special
that.
teams. He's a great returner. He could play running back in the receiving game.
And Patterson's got to see that he's incredibly valuable more to them
That roster.
in the role that he's in. Now, somebody may think he can be a number one wide receiver. He's
No
never
way.
been that, or let's say a starting wide receiver.
By the
He's
way-
never been that in his career.
By the way, we should mention this. The Patriots made a big move big move, but they got a big time receiver in Gordon. They took that big risk,
Yeah.
and they still made the Super Bowl without him.
Yeah,
Right?
I know.
They didn't take that big a risk, though. They took a risk. They took a risk bringing him in. They didn't take a risk contractually.
I guess they took. I guess if we cared about embarrassment, right? But they don't. So right? I mean, people say this is going to end badly, and it did.
Right.
It did.
Right?
Yeah.
It did. Where would they be with him now?
A lot different team.
Slam dunk favorites,
It
right?
would have been in regulation and not overtime.
Yeah, slam dunk
Yeah.
favorites.
I love your next one. This one's awesome.
Gronk's,
I'll pick it up for you.
Go
What
ahead.
is Gronk's occupation next year? Tight end, movie star, WWE wrestler, or actual Tide Pod?
I am going to go with wrestler.
Me too. And movie star. Can you combine them? Because I think he's in both. I think he's in a movie.
Yeah.
He's in an action movie, and he's a wrestler next
I also
year.
think he's hosting something, right?
Oh,
he's
definitely. He's hosting a show.
America's Got Talent or some crap like
No,
that, right?
it'll be goofy, kooky. It's like what's the goofiest thing you can do? Or he's hosting Gronk's cruise ship show. on
Terrible
whatever.
Dancing with the Stars.
Something like that.
Grilling with Gronk on the Food Network.
Grilling. I love it. I love it.
The Gronk bus has its own show. Something like that. So
But we all agree he's done?
yeah, I think he's done.
I think he's been pretty beat up.
Me too.
A Hall of Famer for sure, by the way.
No question.
Patriots draft or sign a quarterback in the offseason.
Draft, sign, or both. Something's getting done, right?
I think
Draft.
Just draft.
no.
Yeah, because I think you might keep Hoyer around as a veteran
I agree,
backup next year.
but you don't think they're going to pick anybody off this list? A Foles, a Bridgewater,
No.
a Bortles,
No
a
way.
Tannehill.
No way.
I can see them- I
It
can
makes no
see-
sense to me.
Actually, Bortles makes sense. I think Bortles
You mean
makes
because
sense.
they think they see talent in him that they can clean up and correct?
Yes. I
just-
think Bortles has potential. And to play under a guy like Brady and play in their system,
I actually
interesting.
think it's Bridgewater.
I think he's staying in New Orleans.
I don't.
No?
You don't think Bridgewater? Well, we talked about this on last week's
did.
podcast. What the market will be for Bridgewater? Boy, it seems to me there has to be no market whatsoever for him to want to go to New England after sitting behind Breeze to sit for another year or two behind Brady. And the Patriots have never really done this, right? And sign a veteran free agent quarterback. They've drafted Garoppolo and Brissett. So that to me, you've got your veteran guy that holds the fort down, that keeps helps Tom out in the meeting room, and then you bring your young guy in and you develop that young guy. Either he's ready if Tom retires, or you turn around and you wheel him out like they've done.
You think Tom needs help in the meeting room?
No, but
I think Tom runs the meetings.
No, but I think a guy like Hoyer is a sounding board, or at least, hey, Tom maybe sees things that Tom doesn't.
I think Brian Hoyer thanks Tom Brady every day of the week. Like, dude, thanks for not getting her out to play. Like, does anybody have an easier job in America than Brian Hoyer?
Any backup quarterback.
Any
Chase
Peyton
Daniel,
Manning's
it's just all good stuff.
Right.
Chase Daniels made like $40,000 to just walk around. I mean, it's just amazing. $40 million, I should say.
Who the hell's the backup with the Chiefs? That might be that's a great job too.
I'm not even sure I know.
Exactly. No one knows.
I should know.
Oh, it's not Chad Henne, is it?
Bray? Oh, it is Henne. Chad Henne.
Yep.
There's a great gig.
Yeah, good gig.
All right.
So I think they draft one. I think they'll draft someone. Again,
I can't wait to when they draft them. Like, all the New England media. They're getting rid of Tom Brady.
Well, again, they should know better. And again, one. And the Patriots, because I did a little study on this, the Patriots have bucked the trend of the league and how they draft their quarterbacks, which is they draft guys in the second and third rounds when almost no one else does, and those guys wind up being successful. Why? Because they get to sit and watch and learn.
And then they get traded.
And then they
get traded. All of them.
By the way, when Tom Brady's back next year, does he get to scream, "I'm still here"?
Probably.
Yeah, whatever. He'll find something else to get himself motivated.
That was pretty cheesy.
I think they do both. I think there's a free agent signing, and I think there's a draft pick because it's just reckless to not have somebody ready, right? It's reckless.
Yeah.
I mean, great. Maybe he plays 4 more years, right?
Right.
Then you trade this guy.
But there has to be someone there in that building that says, what happens if he sprains an ankle or gets popped or whatever? Can we win with Brian Hoyer?
Yeah, I don't know.
They
can.
I bet you they can.
Sure, they can.
but again, Garoppolo, Brissett, they've been aggressive in bringing younger quarterbacks in there.
Wait, wasn't Brian Hoyer one of these guys? Did they draft Brian Hoyer?
They might have.
They might have.
They might have.
I hate the Patriots.
Franchise tag notwithstanding, Jared Goff gets a second contract with the Rams.
This is one of my favorite questions going right now in terms of sports money.
Boy, I think it's a lock that he does.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I only think it's a lock if they win the Super Bowl. I think it's the Flacco syndrome where they feel like they have to sign him. It won't be this year. It'll be next year.
They've got to me, they've made the Super Bowl with their running game and defense.
Yeah.
Like Goff to me,
but early in the year,
he's a plug-in piece.
Early in the year, he was throwing the ball a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens in the NFL.
But when
the first 6 weeks are a passing league, and then I think everything converts to a running league.
You can't discount what he's done as a passer this year and say it's all been the running game and Gurley and C.J. Anderson.
You don't think Foles could do that? Alex Smith?
He? Sure.
Anybody?
But for a beautiful mind like McVay, to be on a wavelength and have his quarterback maybe be close to him in the beautiful mind department?
Okay, but this is exactly why I think it's in question, because McVay probably feels he can win with other quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I guess if he's telling him to play before the headset clicks off and basically telling him where to throw the ball, then I guess maybe you could say that.
I do think it's a very systematic situation out there, and if they drafted someone in the 3rd round this year, they could start to groom that person for 3 years, the next 3 years. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle it, because they're sort of the poster boys for this. Right?
Can't pay everybody, right? Because they got Gurley, you've got Donald.
Yeah, but it's a quarterback. You got to pay your quarterback.
But if you don't have to, and you're the Patriots,
but you found
a
good one. I don't know. Again, I know what you're saying. It just, to me, Goff is the face of that franchise. You can. I won't go with Gurley. He's the face of that franchise. He and Aaron Donald are the faces of that franchise.
I don't think McVay is.
Yeah, I don't think perception is that Goff is the face of the franchise, but he probably should be.
He should be.
He should be. But I think they're going to make it seem like he's not.
Boy, that's a ballsy move by McVay. If you get to the point where you say, "This is my team, my offense, my franchise,"
I disagree.
Get me somebody else, anybody. I can turn.
That
anybody
is why
else
the
great.
Patriots are here. That is exactly what Bill Belichick has done.
But
we're paying you this. This is your price. Take it or go.
Quarterback.
Oh, BS. Tom Brady made $15 million this year.
Yeah, but you don't think Tom Brady? You don't think Tom Brady's in on that?
He's playing ball, and that's what I'm saying. At some point, these other quarterbacks are going to have to play ball. They're going to have to.
Right now.
And if Tom Brady pounded his fist on the table and said, I want market value money. Now, 10 years ago, if he did it, not so much now, but 10 years ago, if he did it, what do you think would have happened?
They probably let him walk.
Belichick's not stupid. No, I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
Show me the quarterbacks that are making this work. Show me them. Kirk Cousins is sitting home. Aaron Rodgers is sitting home.
Yeah, but it's Tom Brady. It's the greatest
Matt
quarterback
Ryan is
of
sitting
all
home.
time.
And it's just not a feasible way to handle a 53-man roster anymore. You can't pay 18% of your cap to one guy.
I think
even if it's the quarterback, you can't
think
do it.
I think the number guy in you is discounting the on the field ability of a great quarterback to help your team
What I'm
win.
saying is it's got to be both, and it's got to come from the top down. McVay has to say to Goff, "We want you. You can be the guy. You can be the guy here for the next 6 years, but you've got to take this price." You've got to have this percentage of cap because this is how we're allocating our money.
That's different than Goff maybe agreeing to do it too.
What I'm saying is he's got to play ball.
Our question here was: Is he going to get a new contract?
He's not. What I'm saying is I don't think he's getting the $35 million contract. I don't.
Not per year, no.
No.
And you know what? If
I won't disagree.
Not
with
in
you
that
on
system, he's not.
If you're a young quarterback and you feel you're on a good team and you get a good combination of the coach,
Yeah.
Tom Brady should be your example.
That's exactly right. Somebody's going to have to step up and be that next person.
Right.
And say, this is how it works financially. I've just got to live with it.
And, dude, if you win, you're in L.A., you're going to be
superstar.
Yeah, you're going to be on, whatever, TV show. Like, you're going to make the money elsewhere, for sure. All right, Todd Gurley's $14.375 million average contract represents 8.1% of the 2018 league cap.
Yeah.
Everybody got that?
No, let me say this again. So how this works is we take the average salary of the contract, we divide it by the league cap, which is 177 this year, right? And that's how much the contract essentially percentages out to the league cap. Generally with quarterbacks, it's like 12 to 15%. Rodgers is way up at 18%, like I just said. Gurley's recent deal is over 8% of the league cap, which is big for a running back. It's
just
big.
a shade over.
Big.
Over. So what's the over-under amount of running backs to secure a contract the next 3 years that average at least 8% of the league cap? You've got Bell, you've got Elliott, you've got Kamara, Gordon, McCaffrey. Over-under.
Let me give you the number. At a projected 190 next year, that means a $15.2 million average salary for a running back.
Can I say...
That's what Gurley just signed.
Zeke gets it.
He gets over $15 million?
I think so.
No.
Because that's how the Cowboys do business.
Oh, my God.
That
would be a nightmare.
That is how the Cowboys do business. I will say one of these guys get
does
it.
Dak Prescott get $30 million in your world then?
I think he's headed that way based on even though I don't think he's anywhere close to deserving it.
No, God, no.
But,
Wow.
I think, that's how the Cowboys do business.
I think the most talented of these running backs you mentioned is Kamara.
Yeah, of course.
Like that'd be the guy I'd give it to.
I don't think he gets it because
No.
I think the Saints understand how this works.
What are we talking about here then?
Right.
That's the same conversation we have to have with quarterbacks. Breeze took undervalue.
The position.
Breeze took $10 million less this past 2 years.
The importance of the position or the replaceability of the position is way different in my mind.
I don't know. I think
Well,
Ingram was
think-
just as valuable as Kamara this year.
I think a couple of these guys, Ingram was.
Right?
I think the guys who can catch the ball and run the ball effectively.
Yeah.
I think they're the ones that are more. That's where
then it's
Kamara,
Bell. Then it's Le'Veon Bell who's going to break
Le'Veon
this bank.
Bell too, right?
But has he torpedoed his value?
No, Connor torpedoed his value.
Great. I agree.
The fact that he went in and had a great behind that line.
The Jets, the Colts, the Texans, they don't give him $15 million a year.
15, no.
Somebody is. The Jets are going to do
That's
it.
the exact number he's been asking
The
for.
Jets are
and he
gonna
wants
do it.
3 years of it guaranteed. He
Not
wants
the
$45
Colts,
million
but the
guaranteed.
Jets.
And he's going to take 42 and be happy. Okay.
I don't even think he gets 35 guaranteed.
Fun to find out.
I think he
here.
gets two for 30 essentially.
Forbes valued the Patriots at $3.8 billion. That's second overall. Cowboys are number one, right? Mm-hmm. And what are they at 4?
5. It's ridiculous.
How the hell are they at 5? 1 point. The Rams are at $3.2 billion.
They're fourth.
Fourth. Do the Rams surpass the Patriots in 2019?
Yeah, you just talked about that LA market,
Because
right?
of the stadium.
If they win the stadium, if they win the Super Bowl this year, there's a lot of things that could really just,
But it's the
pivot
stadium.
their
The
value.
stadium is a lot of times
Have
what
you seen this
drives.
thing? I just saw this thing for the first time this week.
I mean, the
Oh my
stadiums
God.
drive these valuations. And the Rams stadium is going to be supposedly 25 or 30% better in every way than anybody else's.
And if they win, they're going to have butts and seats.
Correct.
And I thought it was interesting that those seats have buttless seats, so you can just go to the bathroom while you're watching the game. I thought that was really interesting.
Very nice.
Like maybe
But we say yes. We say yes, they become more valued.
they jump the Patriots. They jump the Patriots.
I'll say
Stadium.
In 2019, I will say no.
I say yes.
I do too. I say yes. I think
$600
it's amazing
million.
that the
Stadium
Patriots are
and market size.
I think it's amazing that the Patriots are number 2.
I don't.
Because of the Boston market?
You're just thinking of Boston, though. You've got all of New England there, my friend, and you've got New York,
New Hampshire,
and you've got my 9-year-old.
I don't think you have New York.
And you've got my 9-year-old just bought a Tom Brady poster.
Well, that too. That's a good point. There's a lot of Patriots fans that go beyond New England because they've won.
You think about like all your friends you went to school with who love the Dallas Cowboys or Pittsburgh Steelers just because they won Super Bowls.
I was a Miami Dolphins fan growing up in New Jersey, so yes.
Okay.
Oh, that says a lot about you.
Yeah, well, wow. Because they were good back in the 70s.
But Patriots are that team because they're good.
Yeah.
All right. Who will win the MVP? This is not of the Super Bowl, or this is overall?
Listen, this is not
valuable in quotations.
This is which player is going to have the best Super Bowl with the lowest contract, the lowest salary for the year.
All right, you got Robert Woods at $5.4 million, Brandon Cooks $5.4, Zerline, the kicker, at $3.5 million.
That's a good pick.
Pecker, the punter, great fake punt, by the way.
He's the best.
$2.6 million.
Can they possibly do another fake punt?
Of course they're going to.
Even with the Patriots spending hours upon hours.
They might
onside
kick the opening kickoff, knowing McVay.
Trey Flowers at $2 million. Sony Michel $1.75. That would be my pick, by the way.
Yeah.
Marcus Peters $1.7 million. The DB Phil Dorsett, the receiver $1.3 million. C.J. Anderson. Well, all right.
Come on. That's a slam dunk.
92,000 or 93,000 when you round up.
You like Anderson?
No, you're saying, but the most yes, it would be Anderson. He's getting paid less. He'll make more.
You just said they've been saving Gurley for this game.
He'll make. He's made more He's almost made.
If he wins the Super Bowl,
he'll make more.
Make more than he made during the regular season. Yeah, exactly.
See, I could see a guy like Dorsett catching 2 touchdown passes and qualifying under your parameters here.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Patriots are.
Yeah.
That it's a guy that you don't expect. It's a guy that you don't think. It was James White years ago. I mean, a Dorsett could be the difference maker on a couple of deep balls. Then he gets beyond Talib or Peters, catches a couple touchdowns, and he isn't going to be the MVP, but you're going to go, man, he's one of the stars of the day at $1.3 million in salary.
I'm going to be super boring here. I'm going to take Trey Flowers. I'm going to take a pass rusher here because
not a bad pick either.
He's going to have two responsibilities, right? Obviously, it's going to be to get to Goff, which I think he can do. I think he can do that.
Yep.
And I think number 2 is going to be his job is going to be to
chip Gurley, right? He's coming out.
Chip him on those screen passes, which if we think they're going to open up Gurley, that's going to be how they're going to do it, right? They're going to try to get him out of the backfield, and that's going to be Flowers' responsibility.
Who was one of the best players in the championship game? You don't even have him on the list. A guy like Kyle Van Noy.
No question.
He had like 2 sacks, and he could be the guy who covers Gurley out of the backfield. I mean, though that's how the Patriots do it with guys you never heard of before.
All right, quick cat fact here to wrap it up, and then we'll give our picks.
All right, let me take this one, Kev.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
We did a bonker spreadsheet. My developer Scott, he did a bonker spreadsheet here over the past 18 Super Bowls. And basically what he ran the cap percentages that as we've talked about here for quarterbacks, the starting quarterbacks on each team in the Super Bowl for the last 18 years. There has never been a Super Bowl winning quarterback with a cap percent of 12.2 or more. And Brady's at 12.4 this year. It's never happened in the past 18 and 19 years. Meaning even as little as he's being paid, the percentage of league cap that the quarterback has represented heading into the Super Bowl has never been greater than 12.2%.
But half of those are Brady, right?
Yeah, that's right. But he's just a little
over.
That's where his salary is, his cap is this year because of some restructures and things like that. But that just goes to show you that's the point right there. Like you can't do this to your team and be successful. You can't do it.
All right. So prediction time. I predict that stat ends this year. I'm taking the Patriots.
Me too.
I'm not. I think McVay has this figured out. I think this is the next generation of how this all is going to play out. I think we've sort of talked about it. I think the way McVay is going to run this ship is going to be similar to how the Patriots did this 10 years ago. I think it's going to be a carbon copy of it. They sort of have it all figured out. They've even got Brandon Cooks, right? The Patriots have used that in their past. There's a bunch of guys like that. They're plug and playing on the defense, which is a really good way to do it. In this financial setting. I love the idea that Jared Goff is a great quarterback who probably doesn't need to be great right now. He doesn't. He's got weapons. Okay. He's got underrated weapons, and like you said, they're probably ready to unleash Gurley, this week after 3-4 weeks on hiatus, sort of. So everything for me points towards the Rams, and hopefully this is the end of the Patriots run.
Right. I think that loss last year burns hard with the Patriots, and I think that's enough to be the difference in what should be a really tight, close, well-played, evenly matched game. I just have learned my lesson over these years. You're crazy if you're going to pick against or bet against New England.
Well, we're still here. Thought I'd throw that in there. Hey, glad you're still here with us, too, here on the Spotrac.com podcast. For Mike Giannetti, founder of Spotrac.com, Paul Peck, I'm Kevin Sylvester. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll talk about it next week.